So I'm still out here walking with Nightwing. I'm kind of sad that, well, you can't. I'll show what I'm pointing at in another video. But, this is the first time I've really noticed that there are reflectors on this. I mean, I knew that's what they were for, but this is the first time I've actually been able to see it. I guess I'm just not paying attention when we're walking and running and everything. And he's got reflectors. Anyway, so the story I want to tell is the story of one of the times Nightwing got out. So this is probably the most adventurous one. He wandered up a couple of blocks away, and someone, I guess, fed him and took him in for a while, and then they sent him to the pound. I didn't know anything about this. I just thought he was wandering around outside somewhere. Next morning, I go outside, and I'm like, where in the world is my dog? And I know people are going to say that's irresponsible. Your dog should be inside at night, this, that, and the other. Look, I was learning still. I was still learning. He was used to, I knew he was accustomed to being outside, so I didn't, I wasn't going to make him be inside like I do now. But, I mean, I make him stay inside for his own good because he's so darn friendly and adventurous that gets him into trouble. So it's not that I'm overly protective or anything. I'm just trying to keep him out of trouble. So anyway, ends up at the pound. Friend of mine sends me a Facebook message with a screenshot of him at the pound. So I call up there. I've dealt with him before. Like I said in other videos, this is a small town, so it's, nothing out of the ordinary. I don't really, not really chummy with the people, but I, know of them. So I call up there and I tell him, well, the husky is my dog, and, basically I'm coming to get him soon. And she goes into, well, how is this your dog? I was like, what do you mean? She was like, this dog has already been spoken for. I'm like, what do you mean this dog has been spoken for? The owners are on the way from Florida. I said, from Florida? So she hangs up on me or something. My head jumped time at that point. So I contacted the friends that had Nightwing before me, and I was like, so Nightwing wandered off last night, and he's at the animal shelter, and they won't give him back. So I had to go find his papers and all of this, the AKC papers, his lineage, all of this stuff to prove that he was my dog. They had to scan the microchip and everything, and the friend called up there, and they were like, look, we gave him that dog. That's his dog. Let him have it. And she still wouldn't let him have it. And we kept telling them, that's Nightwing. That's Nightwing. That's my dog. And she proceeds to say, well, no, this isn't Nightwing because we have picked up Nightwing countless times, and we know what Nightwing looks like. Nightwing has got different fur patterns and this, that, and all that. This is definitely not Nightwing. I'm like, oh my goodness, is she serious? She doesn't know him that well if she doesn't know what he looks like. There's not that many huskies running around Nottoway County, Virginia. So, my goodness. So, a friend calls back in and she's like, look, Nightwing has a bare spot on his chest plate. Go in his kennel and look at his chest. So she goes in there and she sees the bare spot on his chest. She's like, oh, it is Nightwing. Yeah. And then me and the friend's husband had to go to the animal shelter, and it was closed, and we had to go back because the woman was in Brunswick County, Virginia, and she was wrangling a hound dog or something, so we had to wait until she came back. And I don't think this was the same woman we had to deal with then. So we get back now. If you were watching the earlier video, this is our herd, and they're even kind of startled by Nightwing. But anyway, he's had this dog for a year and a half here, and he's still Still trying to get the deer used to it. But lost my train of thought. Anyway, so we get there and we look through basically the prison bars, and we see Nightwing, and he sees me and he sees the other guy, and he starts howling. And I was like, oh, my heart. My dog's in there calling for me. So I had to, we had to go back home. We had to wait again. We had to wait for the other lady to get there, and then we got in there, and they're like, well, we got a holding fee. And I'm like, what else can this day turn into? I think I had forgotten my wallet or something. So we're scrounging up quarters and crap. And finally, I guess we got enough to the point where she felt that we could take Nightwing back. So, long story short, we put him in the car and we came back home, and I thanked everybody for helping me get him back because that was a crazy day. And ever since then, I have made sure to keep a better eye on him because he's a good dog, but like I said, he's way too friendly, way too adventurous for his own good. And I definitely couldn't go through that. Apparently, and I left this part of the story out, which was probably the most important part of the story. If you've watched other videos, you know where he came from. Apparently, the in-laws of the original owner were coming to get back to Virginia to get him, the ones that had him in the RV. And when the lady at the shelter said, well, this turns out that he does belong to the guy in Virginia, they just vanished after that. So I guess they were trying to sell him twice. I don't know what was going on with that, but it was a crazy night. It was a crazy night. And well, day. That all happened during the day. He left the night before, but that was all during the day. But it's when you have a husky, you have stories like this. That's all I can say.